What's up, guys? We are live. We have a good card, man. This is it's a good card. I mean, every week, man, I feel like we're getting good fights. And tonight we have Contender Series, which I'm really pumped for. But we got to talk about Saturday. We got Glover Teixeira versus Thiago Santos. What a main event! Brendan Allen versus Ian Heinisch. There's a lot of good fights in this card. Um, what's up, Kelton?
What's up, man? You're damn right. This is a pretty good fight night. We're coming off that Halloween card, which was pretty fucking good. And this one's good too, man. You got a great main event between Tiago and Glover. Two top five guys in the division for sure. Even got Jan Zonin, Brendan Allen, Ian Heinisch. I think Bavon Lewis versus Trevin Giles is a really intriguing fight. I think most of us are really looking forward to finally seeing the Alexander Romanov versus Lima fight. You even got Giga Chikadze, and even the first fight of the night, Max Griffin versus Ramiz Brahimaj. That's a really intriguing and should be an entertaining one too. So like this card, top to bottom, hardcore fans are gonna love it.
Yeah, man. I guess someone in the chat, Timothy, just said that we have a bad echo going on. I don't know. If it keeps on going on, just let us know. So we'll do a recap real quick of the last card. We got Uriah Hall versus Anderson Silva. I mean, pretty lackluster fight. I mean, Silva was winning the fight. Hall looked like he wanted to fucking sign an autograph. Congrats to Hall for getting the dub. Even Dana White was criticizing his performance. I don't think Hall's going to go far at all. There's a number of guys, that are even ranked that could probably beat him. So I mean, look at the Bavon Lewis fight. We'll talk about that later. I mean, he was winning that fight till he got caught. So Silva retired, one of the goats of all time. Mitchell versus Feely. Yeah, that one stings. I mean, it was 1-1 going in the third. I don't know, man. I gotta admit, dude, Mitchell, I've always liked Mitchell. I bet on him before. He's good. I mean, he's a great grappler. Obviously, you can tell his striking's not the best. It's improving. He's tough. I mean, he ate a lot of big shots from Feely and he didn't even go down once. So he's a tough dude. I'm really curious to see who he gets next. I was saying he should fight Dan Ige. That would be a great fight. I know that Mitchell is going to take some time off because of a hand injury, and they have bad blood too. And I don't care what anyone says. I like both those guys, but Ige would stop Bryce Mitchell. I don't care. But that is I'm not going to say easy money, but Dan Ige would fuck him up, dude. Like really bad. So give me that fight, and I probably will get plus money there. Hardy versus Green. I mean, what more you want to say? Like I said, in the past, Hardy's going to be a top 5 guy. Great fighter. Holland versus Ontiveros. Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, we expected Holland was going to win, and he got a first round finish. Moises versus Green. I still think Green won the fight. It was controversial. Moises improved, but like I said, I don't think he's that good. I still think he's overrated, and Bobby Green's fought a lot lately. I still think he won the fight. It just didn't look like the same Bobby Green. But I think Moises is definitely going to get a lot of stock on this fight, and they're probably going to hype him up. And I think he's overrated, dude. I don't think he's that good, but he definitely looked better in this fight than he's ever looked. But I still think Green won the fight. Hernandez versus Gritzmacher. Yeah, I mean Hernandez got the dub, but remember this is a huge step down. Gritzmacher's I don't know. I like the guy, but he's not the level all the guys Hernandez was fighting. So give me Hernandez versus Nasrat, or give me Hernandez versus CDF, or I don't know, someone, even Golevsky. I don't know. Give me Hernandez versus someone that's pretty decent at all, because I don't think Hernandez is. I'm not gonna say he's a jobber. He's obviously not. He's a pretty good fighter, but he's overrated, and I think he's a fraud. So I definitely think that Hernandez is gonna get faded. Yanez versus Rodriguez. Yeah, Yanez looked good, and I really want him to get a step up. I want to see him fight a guy like Kelleher or something like that. I don't know if they're gonna make that, but Yanez deserves a step up. Strickland versus Marshman. I mean, this is probably the best Strickland we've ever seen, and it's kind of crazy because he's been off, a long layoff from that long injury. But he looked really good here. I really can't. I'm so excited for him back in the octagon. He's one of my favorite fighters. I know he's one of your favorite fighters. They got to build. I don't. You could build him up, or you can just throw him in the deep end. I mean, I think we were talking about it. Him versus Kevin Holland would be a good fight. I'm sure a lot of people would be going Holland there, but I don't know, man. Strickland's a great fighter, dude. You got to give him a good fighter. Like, give Strickland a top 25, maybe even top 20 guy. Like, Strickland versus Uriah Hall would be good. Hall would never take that fight. I mean, Hall's an idiot. He would not take that. Hall wants to fight for the belt, which he's not going to get. So, you give Strickland, I don't know, someone good. Jason Shit versus Cole Williams. Yeah, dude, Shit got the dub. He actually didn't really look like shit in this fight because he probably fought the worst fighter on the roster. But yeah, I was saying this, give Jason Witt Nico Price. It's never going to happen. But I mean, my boy Nico Price, he's a cupcake after the last. I mean, Nico Price fights like legit fighters. So Give Nico Price Jason Witt. I mean, that would be crazy. But, I mean, that's not going to happen because that'd probably be the first death in the octagon. Justin Jacoby versus Justin Ledet. I see a lot of controversial in this fight. I mean, yeah, Jacoby definitely got the dub, and he was pretty dominant. But Ledet was looking pretty good, man, on the feet for a little bit. But then just the leg kicks, and Jacoby is just the better fighter and shit. And Ledet, he's going to get cut. I feel like. I mean, if they don't cut him after this fight, I don't know what they're going to do with him. Give him Mamute? Probably not. Miles John versus Natividad. Yeah, Natividad just didn't really do what I saw on tape. He really pissed me off. I'm never gonna pick this guy or bet him again. He really dropped the ball. I should have known because I think he's trained at Arizona Combat Sports, and I think that's like the gym that Trevor Smith trains at. And you already know how the guy's fucking terrible. So I probably should have known that. Miles Johns, I don't think I don't know, man. I think he's overrated still. He definitely got the dub in this fight, and I still think it was 1-1 go in the third, but Natividad just did not do what I saw on tape. He didn't pressure. He barely even threw. I think he was afraid of the takedown, and Dan Johns was jabbing him up. And, dude, if you watch the tape, we didn't even see a jab from Johns at all until this fight. So, damn. Johns, he looked better, man. This is the best Johns we've seen, but I still think going forward, we got to really, be careful who he fights. Yeah, what about you, man? Do your recap?
Yeah, man, this was a great card for me. I swept my bets 3-0 for 8.7 units, so it was a good one. The main event, I had no money on. I wanted no part of this, and Uriah Hall, he got that fourth round knockout, hurt Anderson at the end of the third round as well. I mean, yeah, it looked like a guy in his prime versus a 45-year-old, basically. So, yeah, good win for Uriah. It's real nice to get that name on the resume for sure, but man, if he faces a real top 7 guy, I mean, it's not going to go well for him in my opinion. Anderson Silva, personally, I don't think he's done. I think when we get fans back and things start to get a little normal again, I think Anderson will do one more fight in front of those Brazilian fans. That's just how I feel personally. Bryce Mitchell versus Feely. Dang, bro. I picked Feely as an underdog, and Bryce Mitchell surprised me. His grappling is just so fucking good, man. And it's not even just his BJJ. Like, his wrestling is very fucking good as well. Feely was looking good on the feet as long as it was there. He couldn't keep it there, man. Justin's right. It's pretty clear Bryce Mitchell has a long way to go with the striking. So, man, if he fights someone that's able to actually stop the takedowns, it's probably not going to be a good look. I'm thinking Bryce Mitchell is going to have a really bad loss here in the next, probably year or so, depending on who they match him up with, because, yeah, I just don't think his striking is at the elite level. But, hey, man, if he keeps getting matchups with guys where he can take him down, do his thing, he's going to win some fights. Greg Hardy versus Maurice Green. Now, I had Greg Hardy via KO here. I was a little worried just because lately we've been seeing more of a point striker in Greg Hardy. Like I mentioned back in the Contender Series days, he really went hard for those KOs. Like, he was headhunting big time, and then he slowly progressed into a point striker over the last couple of years. And, man, I got to say, that's how it was looking at the beginning of this fight. But as soon as he started to tag Maurice Green a little bit, he definitely went in big for the kill. He got really aggressive in this fight, and really just a very mature, sharp performance from Greg Hardy. And, he's a legit heavyweight, guys. That was a good performance. Kevin Holland and Charlie Ontiveros, I mean, sucks for Charlie. That's a really shitty way to lose, and kind of a shitty way to win for Holland. But, I mean, we know what was going to go down there. That was literally the biggest mismatch on the card for sure. Hopefully Ontiveros is okay and he gets another shot against someone, no one near Kevin Holland's level. And I don't know what's up for Kevin Holland next, but I don't know. I kind of want to see him take a trip down to welterweight. We know he can make that weight limit, and honestly, that's where I feel like Kevin Holland has the best chance at a belt is at welterweight. I kind of feel like the elite middleweights like Izzy and Paulo and Yoel, I just feel like those guys might be a little too much for Holland. So I just want to see him go down to 170 eventually. Thiago Moises, Bobby Green. I thought this was a 50-50 fight. I would have had no problem with this fight going either way. Thiago Moises clearly looked improved, looked like miles better on the feet. And And Bobby Green kind of fell flat. I mean, let's be honest, this is probably his worst performance in this current run he's on, and this was Moises' best performance in the last couple of years. So sometimes these things happen. If you bet on Thiago Moises at the dog odds and cashed, huge props to you because not a lot of people saw that coming. So yeah, good performance from him. Then in the prelims, Alexander Hernandez knocked out Gritzmacher. I mean, Gritzmacher looked like Gritzmacher. He looked super unathletic and hittable, and yeah, Hernandez did a great job. Adrian Yanez, I had him in a parlay. He made easy work of Victor Rodriguez. Yeah, I just know going from fighting those bums in Alaska to fighting Adrian Yanez was just going to be a little too much of a step up, and yeah, he got smoked. Sean Strickland defeated Jack Marshman. Man, I was loving the shit talking from Sean Strickland in the third round from this fight. That was very funny. Didn't really know he had that in him. I kind of took him for more of like a soft-spoken, quiet guy, but it turns out he was having some fun in there for sure, and was definitely talking a lot of shit to Jack Marshman. It was entertaining. I liked seeing that out of Sean Strickland. I like seeing him back. It looks like the accident he got in, he looks back to normal, man. I like seeing him at middleweight too, so excited to see what's next for Strickland. Jason Shit defeat Cole Williams. Man, I even said on this podcast too, if it wasn't for one thing, I would 1,000% bet Jason Witt here because he is the better fighter. It was just that chin. Jason Witt, I mean, he got the W here. He was able to beat the worst fighter on the roster. But don't make a mistake about it. The guy still has, I would say, probably the worst chin in the UFC. So we'll see who he gets next. Dustin Jacoby, he was the other half of that parlay I had with Adrian Yanez. He smoked Ledet. 2.5 minutes, easy work. Ledet, he's gone. Miles Johns knocks out Kevin Natividad in the third round. Good performance. Natividad he didn't look ready for Miles Johns. I mentioned the level of competition. That was clearly a big deal, and I don't think Natividad is who a lot of people thought he was. So yeah, it wasn't a good performance. I forgot to mention I cashed on the doesn't go to decision in the Jason Witt Cole Williams fight. I mean, I thought it was fairly obvious it was going to be Witt sub or Williams knockout, and that's how it played out. So good card.
Yeah, man. Betting wise, yeah, it was another losing night. So I think I'm on a 2-card losing streak. I lost on Natividad and Feely. So hopefully we get back on track on this card. You had a winning night, I believe, right?
I swept, bro. 3-0, 8 units.
It's good, man. That is good. So next card, man, let's do it, man. First fight is a little, this is kind of an interesting fight. It just kind of happened. So I didn't really tape on Burchak, but we all know who Burchak is. We got Anthony Burchak versus Gustavo Lopez. I'm going to let you go first just because I don't really know, man, who I'm picking in this fight.
Yeah, man, I was certainly very surprised to see Anthony Birchak back in the UFC. I'll be honest, this is the only fight in the card I haven't really researched as much as I had wanted to yet. Gustavo Lopez, we saw him. I mean, if there was ever a tough UFC debut to make, it was the one Gustavo Lopez made, man. And it was against Merab Dvalishvili. Merab was able to take him down. I mean, how many fucking times did he take him down in that fight? Like 13, 14. But like, somewhat of that kind of speaks on the get-up game. The get-up game looked pretty good of Gustavo Lopez, and, he landed a good shot or two. He didn't look like a complete fucking scrub in that fight. I'll say that. Anthony Birchak, on the other hand, I'll say he probably got cut for a reason. He's got all right boxing, I guess. He did knock out Joe Soto pretty badly back in the day. That was a good win. That's probably like his one big claim to fame was that knockout win over Soto. Yeah, that's his only UFC win, too. Oh, no, he beat Danilo Lopez by split decision, too. Before that, got knocked out by Thomas Almeida. Lost 3 in a row on the rising scene, but he's bounced back with 2 straight wins. His last win was a rear naked choke in LFA, so at least Burchak's still fighting on a decently high level, in LFA. I think he's still a young guy, too, if I'm not mistaken. No, he's 34. I'm completely wrong. See, I still got to look into this fight. Really, I have no idea who to pick here, but I'm going to go with Gustavo Lopez to I'm going to say he ekes out a split.
Yeah, man, I got to go with Gustavo Lopez here, man. Burchak hasn't fought in the UFC in a long time, and, we really didn't see A lot of good moments from him. He's a good striker. I just think Lopez, has more ways to win this fight, and I'll go with him to get the dub. So next fight, man, this is a banger, man. We got Max Griffin versus Ramiz Brahimaj. This is an interesting fight. I've actually been going back and forth in this fight. I like Max Griffin. I know he's at the end of his career. I know that he's washed up and on the decline. He's 2-5 in his last seven. But let's be honest. He 100% got robbed against Thiago Alves, so he should be 3-4. And his fight against Cowboy Oliveira, his last fight, I actually thought that was really fucking close. Even the Morano fight was close. The thing is with Griffin is that he he's chinny, but he's tough. Like he's actually pretty tough, man. He takes a lot of like big shots, and he doesn't go out. Like the only time he's ever been knocked out was like a TKO against Colby, and Colby's like the only guy, man, to really dominate him on the mat. I mean, he's never been subbed. If you watch his fights, even Cowboy had a really tough time taking him down. I definitely think Cowboy's a better grappler than Brahimaj. Brahimaj's a purple belt. He's from Fortis MMA. He has a lot of hype. He's making his UFC debut. He was supposed to fight Miguel Baeza on Contender Series. Let's be honest, my boy Baeza would have fucking killed him. I think Brahimaj was supposed to fight someone else pretty decent. Do you know who he was? He's supposed to fight someone good too.
Takashi Sato.
Oh yeah, Sato. I mean, we both bet on Brahimaj there, but I don't know, man, who would win that fight now, man. That Sato's a fucking unit.
The odds were much juicier on that one than they are in this one. We had like plus 160 or something on Brahimaj.
Yeah, it's just I can't bet on Brahimaj here, man. There's too many unknowns. We don't know how he's gonna look. He's 8-2. We just lost a fucking Jabroni in 2018. Justin Patterson. They're not a good look. I mean, Griffin's way better than that guy. Griffin's obviously the better striker. He has good boxing. He slows down, but then again, I still think he has better cardio than Brahimaj. I mean, Brahimaj's kind of first rounder finish. I mean, he slows down really bad too. And Griffin, one thing about Griffin, like I mentioned, he has heart for days. The guy has mad heart. He knows this is his last fight if he loses. He's been training at Alpha Male. I think that's a good look for him. He already trains with guys like Fluffy and Aspen Ladd on the daily. So, I mean, Aspen Ladd's not a guy, but I mean, she's a great grappler. So, man, this is close. I want to go with Griffin here really bad because he's way better on the feet and he's just more proven and way better cardio, man. But I just think that Brahimaj, man, he's a specialist, and I mean, I think that he has good grappling. I think he could go down and take down Griffin. I don't know if he pounds him out, but I'm gonna go with Brahimaj here with the upset. I think he's gonna go down, and he definitely, I don't think he can win a decision. I mean, all of his wins are by, I think, first round finish. So I'll go with Brahimaj with the first round finish. I think he takes down Griffin, hands Griffin his first L by sub, but I hope Griffin wins, and I think this is one of those fights where you should probably bet live. Because if this fight gets out of the first round, it's all Max Griffin. And I can't bet Brahimaj. I'm picking him, but I can't do it. So I'll go Brahimaj with upset, but I hope Max Griffin wins.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you, bro. This is just a really tough fight to call. I'd be more open to betting Brahimaj for sure, but there's just other spots on this card I like better. And yeah, I just wanna see it first, man. And if you guys have been watching me for a long time, you know I'm very open to fading Max Griffin. I've done it many times, but yeah, it's just tough here. I think there is a cardio advantage. Obviously, there's a level of competition advantage for Max Griffin. However, I am going to still pick Ramiz Brahimaj here. Yeah, Max Griffin can be taken down. I mean, he's only got a 60% takedown defense. He got taken down by Curtis Melinder and Mike Perry, actually. Even got taken down in his last fight against Cowboy Oliveira. So, like, he's getting taken down by these strikers. I mean, what's going to happen against a BJJ specialist here? And speaking of BJJ specialist, I mean, Max Griffin has never really fought a BJJ guy. He's been fighting a shit ton of strikers. I mean, I guess you can say Alex Morono is a BJJ guy, even though that was a striking fight, and it was actually Max Griffin who was getting the takedowns there. And it was Morono that actually knocked down and hurt Max Griffin very badly in that fight. I guess you could go back to Zaleski. Zaleski's a BJJ black belt, but like Zaleski didn't grapple. So it's just going to be really interesting to see how this plays out, man. But I'm going to go with Brahimaj. I'm going to say he gets Max down and takes his back and chokes him out in round one.
Yeah, that's one thing that I forgot to mention I wanted to say is Mwenner took him down. So, I mean, if a guy like Mwenner can take him down, this guy can take him down. But if this fight gets out of the first round, it's going to be Max Griffin. And it's just too close, man, for me to call. One more thing we both forgot to mention on air is we both have a bet on Contender Series tonight on Bruno Oliveira. Kind of a weird line, man. I don't get how a 2-0 guy is that big of a favorite, but he has a lot of hype. He changed with the champ. We'll see how he is. But I'm the only thing about Oliveira is that he's just 36. If he was younger, I'd be really confident in him here. But I'm so confident, man. The guy's good, and the guy just knocked out a pretty damn good fighter who's making his debut pretty soon against Choban. So, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, man. I mean, I just think the line's very ridiculous. 2-0 is a minus 200 favorite, literally just because he trains with Adesanya and has some kind of kickboxing background. But like, he's fighting all the Australian bums in the kickboxing scene. Like, name me one good guy this guy is kickboxing. Not only that, like, I love kickboxing. Kickboxing is an amazing sport. There's been some great MMA fighters that have came out of kickboxing, but I will say this. Kickboxing is a little bit of a limited sport. There's no knees, there's no elbows. Those are two things that Bruno Oliveira is extremely good at. I sense that Bruno is going to have a really big advantage in the clinch here. I think he's going to back up this Olberg guy, and I think he's going to tee off on him. It's going to be a really good one. I think I mean, he might be the best underdog of the week, like between all the promotions, between, UFC and all that. So, yeah, War Bruno Oliveira.
Yeah, man. Next fight, we got Darren Elkins versus wow, Eduardo Garagorri. If Elkins was lined like way closer, man, I'd probably bet on him here. I think this is a good matchup for him. Garagorri, man. I mean, all I needed to see was that Humberto Bandone took this guy down 4 times. That guy's one of the worst fighters of all time. And then obviously Ramos just needed that one takedown. I mean, this is a good matchup. And I feel bad for Elkins, man. I think Elkins actually won his last fight against Landwehr. So, and Elkins is pretty decent on the feet. I mean, he's at the end of his career, but he's the damage. He's tough. I don't see Garagorri knocking him out. That's the only way he can win this fight. Yeah, I got to go with Elkins here, man. I think Elkins is going to get that dub, and he hasn't got a dub in a while. So I'll go with Darren Elkins. I'm going to go with a first-round submission.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like you're right. Garagorri needs to knock him out, but I mean, maybe he made improvements on his takedown defense, and he's just able to outstrike Elkins for 3 rounds. Because I think of this fight, I mean, I think it's very unlikely Elkins is going to be my pick, but I think there's a chance that this fight could stay standing for extended periods of time. And even if Garagorri doesn't knock him out, I would see Garagorri as the guy winning the striking exchanges and winning on points. However, that being said, I'm gonna say Darren Elkins. He's a vet in this game, very very tough guy. I think he's gonna find a way to win. I think he's gonna find a way to take down Garagorri and maybe even sub him. So I'll go with I'm gonna actually go with Darren Elkins via second round rear naked choke.
Next fight, I mean, this is going to be a short breakdown for both of us. I can already tell. We got De Lima, Marcos Rogerio De Lima versus Alexander Romanov. Yeah, man, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I mean, we've broken down this fight before. I believe we both picked Romanov the first time. Only difference, the first time Romanov was minus 110. I actually think he was even plus money at one point. Now we got Romanov at minus 270, something like that. It might have even been steamed even more. I don't have the odds pulled up, but yeah, Romanov he's a huge favorite. I guess that's just because of the performance he just showed against. I think his name is Roque Martinez, but let me tell you this. Rogerio de Lima is, we know he's got his problems. We know he has a terrible gas tank, yada, yada. But I'll tell you this. He is a gigantic step up from that fat guy that Romanov just fought. This is, de Lima can crack. I mean, de Lima has all right subs of his own. I mean, this is a much more dangerous fight. Romanov better not take this shit lightly because de Lima's a dangerous guy, especially in that first round. But again, that being said, I'm going to say Romanov exposes the cardio and overall grappling game of de Lima. I'm going to say it might just take one takedown to gas out de Lima. So Romanov is the rightful big favorite here. I don't know if I'd run out and parlay him at minus 300, but yeah, he's going to be my pick to TKO de Lima in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, this line's off, dude. I mean, I was gonna bet on Romanov the last fight, but this is dog or pass, man. At these current odds, I mean, this is a huge step up, man, from that Japanese dude. I mean, De Lima, man, he's no slouch. I know we can say he's a fade and all that because his cardio is not good and his ground game's not good. Well, I mean, he has a good ground game when he's on top, but I mean, when his takedown defense isn't the best, I still think that. I mean, he's alive here, dude. I mean, he's way better on the feet. It's just Romanov's a good grappler. Romanov slows down too, man. But I do think he has a big card advantage here. It's interesting, man. For DraftKings, I'm probably gonna have to go with Lima. He's live. I mentioned the live word. I do think that he can win this fight. But yeah, if he doesn't get that finish, man, in the first round, he's probably gonna slow down. But then again, I mean, he had a pretty good 3-round performance against Adam Weiserick. But then again, oh my god, that Struve fight really, dude. You lose to a guy like Struve, dude. Like, come on, man. So I'll go with Romanov with the submission. But I would not parlay him at minus 300. I'll tell you that right now. Next fight, we got Trevin Giles, the fellow cop, versus Bavon Lewis. I mean, you guys already know the deal. I'm not going to pick against a cop, dude. I mean, no. The thing is, though, Giles definitely, man. I mean, it's interesting because this last fight, a lot of people were criticizing him. I mean, the guy passed out, dude. I mean, he's a pretty big middleweight, man. He passed out before the fight. People are saying he wanted a way out. I don't think so. This is an interesting matchup because Bavon Lewis, dude, has been a really big letdown in the UFC. I don't know if you bet him, but I bet him pretty big versus Uriah Hall. And oh my god, the way he fucking, oh my god, dude, just the way he fucking dropped the ball, dude, was. He's not. I mean, he's talented too, but it's just he has so many physical gifts. He's huge, man, for the division. He's so athletic. He has good, striking, and he has a good ground game. It's just. I don't know, man. It's mental with him, dude. I mean, Uriah Hall fucking cleaned his clock. His last fight with Towson, I mean, that was kind of lackluster. I mean, yeah, he got the dub, but I don't know, man. I think Giles has, a really good jab. I think Giles actually has more volume, and Bavon Lewis is gun shy. I mean, look at the fight with fucking Darren Stewart. He looked like he didn't even want to be in there, dude. I think if this fight hits the mat, who has the better ground? I mean, I actually think Giles, dude, actually might have the better grappling. The thing with Giles is that he slows down. He was looking. I mean, he was beating Cummings and he was beating Gerald. It's just really bad IQ against Gerald. I don't know why you're trying to take a guy down like that with a black belt. You were looking good on the feet. He should have just kept it on the feet. He probably would have got a knockout. And the fight with Cummings, I mean, it was 1-1. He got caught and he got tapped out both those fights. I mean, the fight with Krause was impressive, though. I mean, yeah, it was, Krause was up a weight class, but Giles looked good. And Giles has a really good right hand and a good jab. I think Giles is going to keep it here on the feet. I think it's going to be hard for Bavon Lewis to take him down. I think Giles is a brown belt as well, so you got to watch out for that. And Giles has a good rear naked choke. So if Giles mixes up and takes him down, I think Giles actually has the advantage on the mat. But, yeah, I think Giles just has more volume. I think Giles is going to keep it on the feet and win a pretty clear-cut decision or maybe even knock out Bavon Lewis. I mean, let's be honest, dude. Bavon's a little chinny dude. So I'll go with the Trevin Giles with a late finish. And I actually think Giles is going to look good here. I know Giles he's a little shaky with those 2 fights that he lost, but, I mean, I think that he needs this dub really bad, man. Because Giles, I was really high on him, man, when he went in the UFC. I think you were, too. This guy had a really good regional season. He was beating Brendan Allen. I mean, come on, dude. He's beating Ryan Spann. Oh, Ryan Spann's a huge fucking joke. But, yeah, I got Trevin Giles, and I actually think he looks good here. I think he's going to shut up a lot of people. So give me dog money on Giles, man, and I'll take the shot.
Yeah, this is a really tough one for me to call. Yeah, I was with you on Bavon against Uriah Hall. That was quite the heartbreaker considering he was up 2-0. And I even had one of my biggest bets of the year this year. I had like 6 units on Bavon against Daquan Townsend, and yeah, I won and kind of dominated to a certain degree, but like, geez, like you're supposed to dispatch of Daquan Townsend, like you're supposed to run through Daquan Townsend, and the fight was a little sketchy. I ain't gonna lie. He just he looked like he desperately did not want to get hit by Daquan Townsend, and he basically just clung on for dear life for 15 minutes, and hey, it worked. Props to him. I mean, he's certainly when it comes to ceiling wise, I mean, you got to think he's got the way higher ceiling than Giles. I mean, he's got way more of the physical gifts here. He's got all the physical advantages, in my opinion. He's a better athlete. He's the bigger guy, bigger ceiling. It's just, I feel like Bavon's still a little green. I feel like Trevin Giles is probably more technical literally everywhere here. It's just what it's going to come down to, man. Is Bavon ready? Because I don't want to say this is a step up because he has already fought Uriah Hall and Darren Stewart, but this is a big fight for Bavon. This is a big fight for both guys. It's just how much has Bavon developed? Has the last fight gained any confidence for him. I don't know. It's just such a fucking tough fight to call, man. But I'm gonna go with Bavon Lewis. I'm gonna say he edges this one out. I think he's gonna be able to do a little bit of the cage pushing like he was against Daquan. I just think, man, I just see him having a big strength advantage here. I actually think he's gonna be able to out grapple or out clinch Trevin Giles. Just don't get caught in a sub. Don't, stand at distance for too long because Trevin Giles will probably box you up. So, yeah, this is a very winnable fight for Giles. I'm just going to go with Bavon to squeak out a split.
Yeah, man, Bavon's pretty good in the clinch. I forgot to mention that. He's really good in the clinch, actually. He has really good elbows and stuff. But, yeah, this is a straight pick 'em. I mean, I think Giles opened up -115, Bavon -105. I mean, dude, neither of these guys have hit plus money, I don't think, once. So, I mean, it's like just straight fucking pick 'em.
Yeah.
But it looks like Giles will be hitting plus money pretty soon. So, but I mean, I don't know. I can't play it unless I get like good dog money. Next fight, we got Giga Chikadze versus Jamie Simmons. I mean, this is a really close breakdown, dude. I got Chikadze by KO. I mean, Simmons has the style that could beat him because he has that grappling, but I wasn't impressed with the tape. I think Chikadze's really coming in his own. I mean, he just went out there and beat Morales. I mean, Morales is like a top 25 dude. Chikadze's good, and he's improving every fight. I know he was green and stuff, and I know he has some holes in his game, which is his cardio, and we haven't really. And his ground game is, I mean, I'm sure it's improving, but he's a brown belt too, and he trains with Benny. But dude, Chikadze, man, might be a guy, man, that we're going to be seeing, dude, in the top 10, man, in the future. This guy he has the striking, man. That's really fucking good, dude, and everything about his movement, everything, dude. So I like Chikadze. I think he's going to get a really nice finish here, and I think he needs a big step up. Give him a guy like Andre Feely next, or give him a guy that's in the top 20-25. We need to see him fight a good guy.
Yeah, man, it's kind of weird to see this fight being made. I mean, not only does it remind me of when they made Giga versus Irwin Rivera, I actually think this fight is going to go down very similarly. I mean, Jamie Simmons, let's be honest, he's a he's a 5'5" bantamweight, and he's about to fight Giga Chikadze, who's, he's 6 foot, big old reach, arguably could fight at lightweight. I mean, he just fucking beat a lightweight in Omar Morales. That was just a really good win. Giga's getting more confident. He's putting everything together. You can tell he's been working on the wrestling and the grappling. Giga's a good prospect, and I see pretty much no reason why this guy, Jamie Simmons, is going to be able to beat him. So I'm going to go with Giga. I'm going to say 30-26 decision.
Next fight, I'm going to let you go first. We have Claudio Gadelha versus Yan Zonin and Kelton. Tell everyone who you got.
Yeah, man, my girl, Yan Zonin. I've bet on her in every single one of her UFC fights so far. It was like plus 130 against Curran. She was huge against Viviane Pereira. She was like plus 250 against Pereira, and she dominated her. I parlayed her up against Sari Kondo. I got dog money against Angela Hill, and then I had to play some somewhat heavy juice last time against Karolina Kowalkiewicz, but let's be honest, dude, she made it look easy. I mean, she beat Carolina's ass to a point, bro. Like, she just looked so damn good there. Like, even comparing that Carolina fight to the Angela Hill fight, like, I thought Yan Zonin made like leaps and bounds, and maybe that just speaks to, Carolina. I don't know. Is Carolina officially retired now? I think she did.
I think so.
Yeah, maybe she was just fighting a retired girl, and Angela Hill was a girl in her prime. Angela Hill's a girl who's fighting well right now. But Yen, she pulled that out, got the unanimous decision win over there. She's certainly putting together a good record. I mean, we all know. I don't even have to say it. She's one of the best female strikers in the sport. If you look at the numbers, like it's like when it comes to like significant strike numbers per fight, like you see her name and Joanna Jędrzejczyk's name, and then there's everybody else miles behind. Yan Zonin just brings so much pressure. She has so much volume. She has way above average power for a strawweight girl. And, she's gotten taken down a couple times in the past, but, like, not only is she, like, she's certainly putting on size, too. Not only that, like, I can see the improvements. She's training in the United States. She's training with guys like Henry Cejudo. Like, she's getting the the top class elite training for sure. And on the other side, you got Claudia Gadelha here, who is going to be an interesting fight because Claudia's she's kind of been slowing down, man. Like, I kind of feel like if she were to fight Angela Hill way back in the day, she would have ragdolled Angela Hill, but that wasn't the case at all. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't want to say the game is passing her by, but it certainly seems like her style was more effective in 2015. And if this fight stays on the feet standing, I mean, Jan is going to rip her apart bad. Like, the pressure is going to be too much. I mean, it would be smart for her to work the body because we know about Gadelha's cardio is not good. How I see this fight going down, I think Claudia probably will get a takedown in round 1, but like, Yan's a girl who's going to fight for your money. She's going to make Claudia work very fucking hard. She's going to land strikes while it's on the feet. She's gonna take a toll on Claudia, and I think Claudia might hedge out that first round, but that second and third round, man, I think we're gonna see a much fresher fighter on the side of Jan Zonin, and I think she's gonna be able to start stuffing the shots, and I think she's gonna rip up Gadelha on the feet badly. So I'm gonna say she gets a third round KO, but 29-28 unanimous decision won't surprise me either. I put 3 units at -121. And let's go Jan Zonin.
Yeah, I got Zonin here, dude. I mean, she's just so much better on the feet. She has a big cardio advantage here. Claudia really hasn't looked like, the old Claudia, man, when she was going out there and having those really good fights with JJ, and when she went out there and just destroyed KK. I mean, she's slowing down. I mean, I can't get out of my head how Esparza was boxing her up on the feet, and Esparza got robbed in that fight.
Nina Ansaroff too, bro.
I mean, Jan Zonin, dude, is way better than as far as the man on the feet. I mean, oh my God, dude. I mean, Zonin is one of the best strikers of the division. The only thing with Zonin is we saw Kieran take her down, and we also saw Angela Hill take her down, which is a little sketchy. But other than that, man, I mean, I do think Claudia can actually take her down. It's just I think that she can get back up. So Claudia, I feel like is just going to slow down. I think that she needs to get this done early. I don't think so. I think Zona's, the future. I think that she's just way better on the feet. She's way faster. She's just got to keep this on the feet and make it out of that first round, and it's going to be all her, dude. So I got Jan Zonin, and I actually think the Angela Hill beat Claudia, but I mean, I said like 100 times. So Jan Zonin for the win. Next fight. This is my main event. We got Brendan Allen versus Ian Heinisch. So I don't have any bets right now, but I will be making 4 units on Brendan Allen. I bet on him every fight. I mean, I've been high on this guy for a very long time. A lot of people like to bring up those L's that he had in the regional scene. I mean, this guy's 24 years old. I mean, this guy was really green, man, when he first fought Giles, and even when he fought Fluffy, that was like when he was like 21 years old. People don't realize the guy's 14-3 and he's 24. I mean, this guy is making huge improvements, man, every fight. This camp, he trained at Sanford MMA, which is Henry Hoof's camp. I mean, I think his striking is going to be looking even better now. He finally has a lot of bodies to train with. This is a good matchup, man. I think Ian Heinisch is a good fighter. I like Heinisch. I bet on Heinisch versus Mutanti. I bet on Heinisch versus ACJ. I also bet on him versus Brunson. That wasn't a good win. I mean, it wasn't a good fight for Heinisch. Heinisch just really gassed out really bad. Heinisch is the better striker in this fight. I think that he has more power, but I actually think that Allen's more technical, and I think Allen has some sneaky striking. We just haven't really seen it. I mean, he's really good in the clinch. He has really good knees. I think that he can 100% hurt Heinisch there. And the game with Heinisch, or the game with Allen, is that he's a pressure fighter, dude. He's going to go out there and try to back him up against the fence, hit him, against the cage with those knees, try to take him down with that body lock. And he has a big advantage here on the mat. I know Heinisch, is no slouch on the mat. I like the Gambi roll he does. I know that he beat ACJ and he beat Mutanti, but both those guys, man, are well, let's be honest, okay? They're both fraud Brazilians. I mean, ACJ, man, is just not. He has no cardio, and he has good jiu-jitsu, and Mutanti has good jiu-jitsu, but both those guys, man, are just they're washed up and they're phased. I don't think ACJ is that good. I think ACJ has better jiu-jitsu than Allen, but Allen's a better MMA fighter than both of them. And then you saw when he fought Brunson, Brunson outstruck him, and Brunson also, beat him on the mat. Same with Almari. I know Heinisch looked pretty good in the third round in that fight, but I 100% think Allen that can outstrike a guy like Heinisch, and I think Allen's going to go out there and take him down. And I think once we see Allen on the mat, this is bread and butter. He's a black belt. I think his transitions, his ground and pound, his top game is really good, dude. And I 100% think that Allen can tap him out, man. I mean, I know Heinisch hasn't been tapped out versus Marcos Perez, But Allen's dominant on the mat, and we see this guy look better every fight. I think he's gonna have some success here on the feet. And I think once he either hurts Heinisch or he's winning the fight, he's gonna take Heinisch down. And we've seen Heinisch can take him down. I mean, Justin Sumner took him down. Everyone's taking him down in the UFC. And yeah, he beat ACJ and he beat Mutanti, but Allen is above both those guys in my opinion. So I got to go with the youth here. I think Allen's been looking better every fight. He's on the 7-fight winning streak. He's 3-0 in the UFC. The finisher, yes, we can talk about his last fight versus Dawkins. I thought that he won both the first 2 rounds, and then Dawkins took him down the 3rd round. I don't think Heinisch is going to be able to take him down the 3rd round. I'm telling you right now. And if Heinisch goes out there and takes him down, dude, I mean, that's a bad look for him. I mean, I think that Heinisch has good ground and pound, but I think ultimately Allen will just reverse him. I mean, Dawkins is a legit black belt. I do think that Dawkins is better on the mat than a guy like Heinisch. And a lot of people are sleeping on Dawkins. They're saying that, and one guy went out there and took him down. Dude, Dawkins is good. I mean, Dawkins is going to be a top 15 dude. People don't realize that. And Dawkins was looking pretty good in the feet versus Allen, too. But, I mean, Allen dropped him with a knee in the 1st round. And then the 2nd round, he dropped him with a straight left hand. So we're seeing improvements. I mean, he actually hurt Tom Breeze, too, before he got that takedown. I mean, why do you think Tom Breeze shot on him? Because he hurt him on the feet. So I'm telling you guys right now that we're going to see a big improvement, man, in the striking for Brendan Allen here. I'm not going to say he's going to knock out Heinisch. I mean, that's not going to happen. I mean, Heinisch has a good chin, and I think Heinisch has more power, but I think he's definitely going to hold his own on the feet here and then get it down on the mat. And I'm going to go with Brendan Allen for the 1st round submission.
Man, this is such a tough fight for me to call. Easily the toughest fight for me to call in the card. I mean, I view it simply as a striker versus grappler. I know there's Allen backers making cases for striking, and I know there's Heinisch backers making cases for Heinisch's grappling. But, I mean, the way I see it, I think Allen has a big grappling advantage here, and I think Ian Heinisch has a big striking advantage. This is all about who can implement their game. And, yeah, I mean, I really don't know who the fuck I'm picking yet. I'm just going to talk about the fight and, just let the pick naturally come. I mean, if you want to make a case for Ian Heinisch, like you mentioned the fights, the Carlos Jr. and Cesar Ferreira fights, like it was just really promising to see him be able to, reverse and overcome those grappling attempts. That's a really good look when it comes to this fight here. The Mearshart fight we won't really talk about just because it was such a fast finish, but shit, dude, it was a really nice finish. And if Brendan Allen, he comes in very aggressively. If he gets, if he slips up a little bit, he can get caught by Ian Heinisch here. Ian Heinisch has big power, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him hurt Brendan Allen. But you mentioned it. Brendan Allen's actually a pretty dangerous guy on the feet. He's certainly way more dangerous on the feet than he is technical, by far. I think when it comes to actual technique, Ian Heinisch is leagues above boxing wise. But yeah, like I said, it's definitely promising to see Ian overcome fights like this before. The Brunson fight, he hurt Brunson 30 seconds in, certainly dropped a lot of adrenaline, and it was just all Brunson from there. No shame in that, though. Brunson's an amazing fighter. Did you see what he just did to fucking Edmund Shabazian? And then the Omari Akhmedov fight, actually bet Omari there at plus money, and Omari's striking looked pretty fucking good there. I'm not going to lie. I don't think Brendan Allen has striking that good, to be honest. And even then, Heinisch was coming strong in that 3rd round. But if I'm going to make a case for Brendan Allen, Justin mentioned a lot of it. The guy has 18 pro fights at 24 years old. He's certainly the better athlete here. I would say he certainly has a higher ceiling than Ian Heinisch, and he's on a real nice streak right now. The Kyle Dawkins fight was a real treat to watch. I loved that fight. The Kevin Holland performance. Yeah, Brendan Allen certainly fighting well. Even the Tom Breeze, we can say what we want about Tom Breeze, but when he actually shows up in the cage, we know how good the guy is. So you can't take anything away from Allen there. That was a really good win as well. He's certainly come a long way from his days of losing to Fluffy Hernandez and LFA. He's grown since then for sure. So yeah, man, it just comes down to if Allen can out-grapple Heinisch or if Heinisch can knock him out or keep it standing. I guess gun to my head, I'm going to go with Brendan Allen to get the victory here. I'm going to say he gets a 29-28 decision. I'm going to say he gets at least 2 rounds of grappling control against Heinisch. I'm going to say he, takes his back, kind of backpacks him, or just rides out full guard, So I like Allen. I think he has a higher ceiling. I'll go with him.
Yeah, both these guys have pretty good cardio too, man. It's I don't know, if gun to my head who has the better cardio, I'd probably have to go with Allen. But I mean, we've definitely seen both of them slow down before. Allen's been 5 rounds before. Allen just won a decision last fight. And there's bad blood in this fight. I mean, Allen wants to get that revenge, dude, for Gerald Meerschaert. So I definitely think that this is gonna be a very interesting fight. And Heinisch is a good fighter too, man. So I mean, Heinisch could definitely have some moments in this fight, but you got to go down. Next fight, we got Ronnie Barcelos versus Khalid Taha. Pretty short breakdown. I mean, I got Barcelos. I mean, he's going to be a top 10 dude. He's good. I feel like he has the grappling to go out there and take down Taha and tap him out, man. And Barcelos is really good in the feet, too. He just went out there and beat a good striker in Syed. So I got Ronnie Barcelos. I'm going to go with a finish.
Dude, I love this fight, man. I think this fight has got fight of the night potential all over it. I think they put it on the main card for a reason. I think the way both these guys fight, man, I'm giving this fight like a 1% chance to be boring. Like, there's just no fucking way, man. I have a bet on this fight. Oh, voice crack there. I have a bet on this fight. I put 3 units on the doesn't go to decision at -110. It's been steamed a little bit since then, and I really fucking like that spot, man. I think for bantamweights, both these guys are some of the hardest hitters in the division easily. So, I mean, I can honestly see either guy getting cracked here. And then when it comes to Barcelos, I think he has a massive BJJ advantage. So if this fight hits the mat, I think Barcelos sub is live all day long. So, I mean, in my eyes, the top 3 most likely outcomes here is going to be Barcelos KO, Barcelos sub, or Taha KO. And I bring up that Taha KO because, I mean, like I mentioned, he's one of the hardest hitters in the division for sure. Packs a lot of fucking power, and sometimes Barcelos gets a little too crazy in there. And if he gets a little too cocky in here with Taha, he's teeing off, he's having his way for sure. And I think that is how the fight is going to play out. I think he is the much better fighter, and he's probably in the -300s for a reason. But man, he can't slip up here. Taha can crack. Barcelos gets a little crazy, so I think a Taha KO is live here. But I'm going to go with Barcelos. I'm going to say he eventually gets this fight down to where he has a big advantage, and I'm going to say he arm triangles Khalid Taha in the 2nd round.
Next fight, I don't know why this fight's the co-main event. The co-main event 100% should be Allen versus Heinisch. This is a joke. Legit, sometimes whoever makes that, decision, come on, dude. Why is Allen versus Heinisch not the co-main event? I don't get it. Andre Arlovski versus Tanner Boser. I mean, who you got here?
I mean, I guess the only reason it's the co-main is you got a former champ, and not too many casuals know who Brendan Allen and Ian Heinisch are. You can put Arlovski on the poster, even though he's not on the poster. But yeah, I mean, he's a former champ. Let's give him some respect. And this is actually a good fight, man. Tanner Boser has been fighting really well. I think, even compared to his UFC debut against Daniel Spitz, he won that fight and won it easily, but I don't know. I see him getting better every fight. I love his interviews too. I love the mind this guy has for the sport and just in general. He's a very honest and humble person. He's honest about his holes. He's honest about his strengths, and I think that kind of helps him a little bit because he wasn't knocking anyone the fuck out at all before he fought Felipe Lins, and nobody thought that was going to happen. And he smoked Felipe Lins, and we're talking about the PFL millionaire Felipe Lins. And then even in his next fight, Pessoa, I know he was a big favorite against Pessoa, but he handled him accordingly, man. He looked really good there. I think here against Andre Arlovski, we talk about it every fucking time, his chin. But if you look at recent results, he's not really getting knocked out. I think Jairzinho Rosenstrike is the only guy to knock out Arlovski in the last over 3 years, almost 4 years. Jairzinho is the only guy to knock him out. We know Jairzinho has that touch of death. He's a very powerful guy. Boser, even though he has 2 knockouts in his last 2 fights, I see this fight going over. I'm going to say this fight goes to decision. As far as who is going to be able to outbox who and who lands more, Tanner Boser is a big favorite. Certainly the books think it's going to be Tanner Boser, and I guess that's just, Arlovski's 4-8 in his last 12 fights, and Boser's on a fucking roll. So I get why Boser's the favorite, and he should be the favorite. So I will pick Tanner Boser to win a 29-28 decision here, but I wouldn't recommend betting Tanner Boser at minus 300. Like, Arlovski's a vet, and every once in a while he pulls out one of these great boxing performances out of his ass. So if he just shows up and looks like the overall better striker than Tanner Boser, I mean, I can't say I'd be too surprised. So Boser's the pick, but don't parlay.
Yeah, I got Boser too. I've been impressed. He's been looking really good. I can't pick on Arlovski, man, in 2020. I mean, the guy's record is what? I forgot to write it down, but I mean, what is he, like 2-8 or something like that? Last 10 fights. Yeah, I definitely got Boser here, but I wouldn't, bet on Boser at that current odd. I mean, if it was to pick him, I would, but yeah, I got Boser. I'll say the KO. I think striking's good, man. I think Boger's gonna get a KO. Main event, man. Glover Teixeira versus Thiago Santos. Yeah, man. We both, are gonna be betting this fight, and I'm gonna let you go first, man. Tell me who you got.
Yeah, this is a great main event, man. Two Brazilian light heavyweights here, top 5 light heavyweights. This is gonna be the first time we've seen Thiago Santos since the John Jones fight, since bad injury in that fight for sure, but good performance. Went to split with John Jones. A lot of people thought he won. I clearly scored it 3-2 for John Jones. I thought the Dominic Reyes fight was closer than the Santos fight. Like, every single time I watch Jones versus Santos, it's like, that's an easy 3-2 Jones. When I watch Dominic Reyes versus John Jones, I'm like, shit, who the fuck won 3-2? That's a really close fight. But yeah, I think people it was a good performance, don't get me wrong, but anyone who says Santos won that fight, I mean, come on, watch it again. But if you want to look before that, I mean, the dude was knocking out the current champ, Jan Blachowicz. That was a good win. The Jimmy Manuwa fight, holy shit, guys, if you have not seen Thiago Santos versus Jimmy Manuwa, like, pause the podcast, go watch it. One of the craziest fights you'll ever see, but sketchy for Thiago Santos, man. Like, this was Jimmy Manuwa, barely clinging on to still being in the sport. I believe he retired after that fight, or maybe he had one more. Yeah, he had one more against Rakic. It was the Rakic one. Then before that, the Eric Anders fight. So let's talk about this Eric Anders fight. Thiago and Eric fought on short notice. Thiago was supposed to fight. I can't remember who he was supposed to fight, but Eric filled in on like 4 days' notice or some shit. And it was supposed to be Thiago versus Jimmy Manuwa. Thankfully, that was rebooked 2 fights later. But anyway, Eric filled in. Eric's a middleweight. I mean, Thiago was a former middleweight too, but like you could see in there, Thiago was the bigger guy. He looks more like the real 205er between him and Eric. And geez, guys, I mean, Eric Anders was able to go in there and take him down. I think it was 6 times. He took Thiago's back. He got on top. He had lots of control time. He was even searching in for rear naked chokes all over the place. Like, it was not a good look on the mat for Thiago Santos. The good thing for Thiago Santos in that fight was he was a much more conditioned fighter. He had better cardio, and Eric went in for that 7th takedown. Thiago was able to stop it. He was able to hurt him with the elbows. That's certainly something Glover needs to watch out for here is, those elbows on the fence for sure. But like, my thing is, man, if Eric Anders is able to take you down 6 times, take your back, get on top, search for subs, what the fuck do you think Glover Teixeira is going to do? I mean, we're talking about one of the best grapplers in light heavyweight history in Glover Teixeira. I'd have to look at the record books, but I want to say he has, he's probably up there for most subs in the division's history. Very, very good grappler. One of the toughest guys you'll ever see. I mean, really, his only knockout losses, Rumble Johnson, hardest hitter in UFC history, regardless of weight class, put him out. The Alexander Gustafsson fight, that was a pretty close to prime Gustafsson, and it still took 5 rounds of some serious accumulation to get Glover out of there. And then you look at recent fights like Carl Roberson, Ion Cutelaba, and Anthony Lionheart Smith in the last round. All those guys had big success on the feet and hurt Glover. But Glover is just so fucking tough, man. Like, he's able to absorb these shots and, implement his game. And I kind of feel like, I'm not going to say it's obvious because it's certainly not. It's scary as fuck to fade Thiago Santos. But I kind of feel like the most likely outcome here is, maybe Thiago starts strong on the feet. But as soon as Glover gets this fight to the mat, man, I mean, might look like a mismatch down there. And it's just so crazy to see Glover at plus 200 odds. This is an easy bet to make. I put 2 units on Glover Teixeira, plus 205. I think we might have a sketchy moment in the beginning, but dude, it might just take one takedown to win this fight. There's a huge BJJ advantage. And I mean, my boy Glover's on a 4-fight win streak right now. There's certainly no signs of slowing down despite the age, but I mean, we're talking about light heavyweight. Light heavyweight and heavyweight, age doesn't matter, man. And what matters is the performances. Glover's putting in these good performances. Thiago, his grappling is suspect. Not to mention, he's coming off a long layoff and a serious injury here. I'm not saying that is going to factor in, but it is a factor, and it's worth talking about. I just don't get this line whatsoever. War Glover.
Yeah, man, I got to go with you here. I like Thiago Santos. I mean, he's one of the best fighters in the division, man. He's one of the nastiest knockout artists of all time. This guy's nasty. It's really, it's kind of, it's nerve wracking, man. Fading Thiago Santos, it really is, dude. It's just he hasn't fought in a while. He's coming off that surgery, man. He tore his ACL, his MTL, his meniscus. So, I mean, I'm really curious to see how he looks here. Um, we've seen him, we've seen some sketchy moments from him, man. I mean, number one, he's been knocked out actually more than Teixeira. I mean, well, Teixeira's been knocked out 3 times. One was against Ed Herman, and then in the UFC, he got knocked out against Rumble really quick, and then Gus in that 5th round. And then Santos has been knocked out against Branch, and then Mosasi, and I think Luque. So they both have been knocked out 3 times. I think that they both have good chins. I mean, I do think that Glover's tough. I mean, I know he has been knocked out, and I know that he's been hurt, and Kutalaba hurt him, Baby K hurt him, but he's just tough, and he battles through adversity, and that's one thing I like about Glover. Smith won that 1st round and was jabbing him up, and then Glover just fucking took it to him, man, after that. He has a big advantage here on the mat, and that's Santos' downfall. Santos, we've seen him, man. Even Kevin Holland, man, fucking had some good moments on the mat versus him. Spicy's tapped him out. Eric Andrews took his back, and that's all I really needed to see. If a guy like Eric Andrews, who is a good fighter, but if he can go out there and take his back, I mean, Glover's a legit black belt, dude. And the fight with Krylov, we really saw Glover's striking, man. I mean, Glover's striking has really come along lately. And that was the fight. The Krylov fight, he just beat him on the feet bad. Krylov was running away. And I'm like, what the fuck? Krylov's a good fighter, dude. His striking looked great last fight. I mean, Glover's on a good run, 4-fight winning streak. His only losses, man, in the UFC. I mean, I'm not going to go. He's 14-5 in the UFC. We need to go back we don't need to talk about the Phil Davis fight or the John Jones fight. His last 3 losses, man, in a while. I mean, Gus, Rumble. He lost to Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson just outboxed him on the feet, and that fight was, I thought Glover looked a little washed in that fight, but after that fight, is Glover, he's looked a lot better, man. Glover has a good right hand, he has good pressure, he has good boxing, he has good striking. He can't let Santos use that distance. He has to get in Santos's face, because if he doesn't, Santos has really nasty kicks, man, and Santos has good boxing as well. He needs to get in his face. He has to pressure Santos, and he needs to take him down, because if he does it, I think that he's going to lose. But I do think that, the longer the fight goes, he could hold his own on the feet, because he has good striking. I just think Glover has to go out there, man, and pressure him and take him down. It's a big advantage on the mat. I do think that Santos is advantage on the feet, striker versus grappler. But like we both mentioned, Glover is not, no slouch on the feet. He has good striking. It's just Santos is, a different kind of KO artist. So I'll go with Glover too. I'm taking him to win. I'm still debating if I'm going to bet him, because it's just, dude, Thiago Santos, bro. Speed advantage. He's so nasty, man. This is a fight, man, where I think Glover could take advantage of it. So I'll go Glover with a submission win. So you guys can have it. I don't have any bets as of right now, but like I mentioned, stay tuned. I will be betting on Allen, and then if I have one more play, it'll be on Glover Teixeira. You want to talk about your bets one more time?
Yeah, man, I got 3 plays for this card. That's most likely going to be it. I got 3 units on that Heinisch Barcelos versus Khalid Taha. Doesn't go to decision at -110. I got 3 units on Jan Zonin at -121. And then I got 2 units on Glover Teixeira +205.
There you guys have it, man. Please like, subscribe. Let us know in the comments below you guys liking every fight. We'll be back next week. Next week's pretty interesting. I know we have a dog play that we're both going to be hitting pretty soon. We got to watch tape. I mean, you know who I'm talking about. And yeah, so that's a good play. So yeah, there you guys have it. And I hope everyone has a good rest of their week. And it kind of sucks that Trump's probably going to lose. But we'll see, man. We'll see how Joe Biden runs this world. We'll see, man. I mean, I'm not a fan of Biden, but we'll see. Later, guys.
War Bruno Oliveira.
Bruno Oliveira tonight, boys. Bruno Oliveira.